Welcome back, Karn. Want to say hello to our co-host, Karn. He's been vacationing all summer long, and he is looking fresh. He's getting ready to take a beat down like he normally does, but it's okay because it's all about the last word. We got a great show. It's the start of the NFL season, and before we get started, before the season gets started, let's start talking about the most important position in the hardest game in North American sports, football, which is the quarterback position. So we want to go down the list and label our top 5 quarterbacks going in the 2024 season.
Funny feeling this is going to get very, very interesting.
He was number 1 in fantasy points last year, over 390 points. He was 4th overall in passing yards, 15 rushing touchdowns. He is none other than Mr. Junior Jim Kelly, Josh Allen himself. He is going to have a breakout season, even though he lost his number 1 receiver, which is Diggs. But guess what? I think with the loss of Diggs, Allen is now going to be more comfortable in the pocket to throw the ball and be able to distribute the ball to whoever he wants to be more freely than having that added pressure to try to get Diggs that ball, because Diggs is really aggressive when he wants that ball. 15 rushing touchdowns. I think that he can repeat that same performance. He was tied with Jalen Hurts for the lead in rushing touchdowns. So Josh Allen is definitely a quarterback that can get it done in the air. He can get it done on the ground. He is poised to answer the critics this year.
So quick question.
That he's not a Jim Kelly.
Quick question.
Sure.
So coming in as your number 5 quarterback on the season is Josh Allen.
Let's say that, yes. And Josh Allen's going to say, okay, you know what? Let me be a Tom Brady-esque kind of person in this season. Let me take these no names, or not no names, but half decent names,
okay,
and let me make them into great names.
Okay.
And if he can do that, he's definitely on that list. Oh. Number 2. I know everyone has talked about what a dip he took last year versus the year he had 2 years ago. Jalen Hurts obviously played hurt last year, which led to the dip in his production on the field. So Jalen Hurts with his meager 23 touchdowns, but he had 15 interceptions, which was crazy. However, the addition of the great Saquon Barkley in the backfield will help make him know that, you know what, I'm not in this alone. I can just pass off the ball, and this brother right here is going to make me look good no matter what. He still got his 2 deep threats in Devontae, what's his name? Devontae Smith. And A.J. Brown. It's over. I think Jalen Hurts is poised to have a breakout season this year. I know you know that. I'm not saying he's number 1. I'm just saying he's gonna. Sure, let's have.
Can I just address the elephant in the room?
Sure.
You've named 2 quarterbacks already, and none of them have been named Patrick Mahomes. So I have to ask, what kind of list are you making? Or are you going from 5 to 1?
Well, let me.
Because I checked my hearing. I thought you said you're going from 1 to 5.
Well, let me ask you this question: was Patrick Mahomes the number 1 quarterback in the regular season last year?
Is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in football?
100%.
Okay.
Did he produce the best numbers last year?
So you're talking fantasy. That's why I asked clearly from the get-go, are we talking fantasy or are we talking reality?
Well, we're talking reality.
And in reality, is Patrick Mahomes not the best quarterback?
But he's the best quarterback, but you're not putting up the best numbers. We're talking about production on the field. That's what we said. Production on the field, right? Production on the field in the regular season, right?
And to quote the great, I can't remember his name at this point, but the Colts.
The great.
The great. He wasn't really great, but hey, his statement has stood the test of time. You play to win the game. Okay? And that was actually Herm Martin from the
Based
Jets.
on the regular
But
season.
you played to win the game. And when Patrick Mahomes seems to play the game of football, he seems to win more than he loses. And his team seems to end up with a trophy in his hand at the end of the season. So if that is not reality, what is reality?
Well,
What is reality?
Reality is he's not taking home the trophy this year.
That's easy to say because how
So,
often has
we're
any team won
we're-
3 Super Bowls in a row?
We're talking
Has
about
any team ever won 3 in a
never,
row?
and hasn't done it.
So it's easy to throw out a statement like
then
that.
but we're at the beginning of the year. We're
What-
making
will Patrick
predictions.
Mahomes be playing football in January?
Maybe.
Okay.
Let me finish my list.
I will let you continue.
It's my
Sorry.
list.
Sorry, I just had to address that.
Or did you want to have my list?
I'm
you wanna make my list
I'm
for
gonna
me?
start scratching out your list soon.
Okay.
But continue.
So we're on Jalen Hurts, number 2. We're talking about production on the field, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about who's going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, it's very easy to say that Patrick Mahomes is going to win the Super Bowl because they are the defending champs. We're just talking about production on the field, man. Come on.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go with number 3. I know you're not going to like this name. This is a name that you wanted to hear all the time. Patrick Mahomes, okay? He's there. He's coming
he
up.
is on your list
He's
at
on my
least.
list.
Okay, woo.
Right? Patrick Mahomes, I don't know. What more do you want me to say? They are the defending champs. He is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Of course, they probably lost a little on offense because Rice is not supposedly starting off the season. They got a nice rookie in Worthy. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But when Patrick Mahomes steps on the field, obviously he makes magic happen. So you see in preseason, he's making all these fantastic passes behind his backs and no-look passes, and he's connecting. So, yes, magical Patrick Mahomes is on my list. I'm putting him in the middle of the pack because during the regular season, he's not putting up the best numbers. He's putting up great numbers. He's not putting up the best numbers. So we're talking about production on the field.
That's
so
fair.
that's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Right?
Last year he didn't have the greatest statistical year.
And that's all
Cool.
we're saying. We're talking about production on the field. If that's okay, if that's fair, then we're going to move on. The 4th quarterback on my top 5 list,
Yes.
CJ Stroud.
Okay.
CJ, 23 touchdowns, 5 interception last year, 4,000 yards passing, which was, I believe, 9th in passing yards last year. CJ Stroud, with the addition of Diggs, can only get better. I remember he was asked, who's your number 1 receiver? Diggs came out and says, I got 5 receivers. He's talking about Mixon. Mixon can catch the ball. He's talking about Dell. He's talking about Nico. He's talking about Diggs. He's talking about Brown. He's talking about the whole arsenal of offense, which
Like
should,
any good quarterback does, he's gonna hype up all his guys. Yeah, it's understandable.
whoever gets the ball gets the ball. As long as they're producing victories on the field, I don't think anyone's going to have anything to say about a CJ Stroud, a young CJ Stroud. I mean, they're only going to want to encourage him and just say, sling that ball. So CJ Stroud has made my list.
Okay.
And the last, but certainly not the least, my pick for the Super Bowl, which was my pick last year, I got to stick with my boy. That's the beast from the West, not the East. Lamar, big time, showtime, 2-time MVP Jackson. Derrick Henry in that backfield. Now, of course, he does not have any receivers. Everybody starts talking about Flowers. Pro Bowl? No. Bateman? Pro Bowl? No. He still does not have any receiving. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care how much you want to big up the names that he has as receivers. They are not number 1 receivers on any contending Super Bowl team. You know what I'm saying. Flowers cannot be a number 1 number 1 receiver. He just can't. He just can't. So that's why Lamar's got to be that extra special and says, I don't got me a number 1. So with the addition of Derrick Henry, I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable to call plays that will confuse the defenses out there that are really going to have the game plan for Lamar and Derrick Henry.
You still think Henry's got enough left in the tank?
Because defenses are going to have to plan for Lamar, I don't think he'll have to do as much because it might be a little easier. So, Henry's a beast. Come on.
Mickey Mouse list.
Wow.
Yes.
Mickey Mouse list.
Mickey Mouse list.
Let's hear what your list is comprised of.
Let's get to a list that makes some type of sense.
Let's hear it.
All right. So I will work in reverse order going from 5 to 1. All right. And you'll notice something vastly different in my list, right? You will not be hearing interesting names at the start of my of my list here. So at number 5,
Daniel Jones. Your New York Giants. Huh?
Oh gosh, don't start me with that guy. Okay, number 5. Josh Allen. All right. As we've all talked about, I see a regression this year. I see him coming back a little bit. Again, losing his number 1 option in Diggs, replacing it with a rookie receiver. There's going to be a downgrade. I think that's just natural going to happen there. Again, the running game has always been wishy-washy, and yeah, it improved a little bit last year, but that something that he's going to have to take on more again? The need to make more plays, to
15 rushing touchdowns. What if that goes up?
Hey, a lot more ability to run when you have a guy like Diggs and that defense focused on Diggs. You remove that option, that true number 1 receiver, and that attention, that coverages are going to slide to him. Again, who knows if this rookie receiver Coleman comes out and is a special option. Hey, maybe that coverage now, he picks up that attention that defenses had on Diggs. But I see Allen having a season where he falls back. And with that being said, I also see Buffalo not winning that division this year. I see Miami winning that division. So I'm seeing a drop off in Allen. Still a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Miami's going to win with
still a top.
Oh, okay. Hey. Yeah. It's your 5. It's your 5.
Thank you.
It's your 5.
Thank you. All right. Coming in at number 4, I got CJ Stroud. I got an agreement with you there. Again, picking up that Stephon Diggs, an additional number 1. Nico Collins, all right. We know with Mixon now in the backfield, finally adding a real threat in that backfield. CJ Stroud in his second year. Again, there might be that little doubt of, will he have a little setback in his second year, more footage, teams having more footage on him, and hopefully finding some of the flaws in his game. But this kid looks solid, man. His ability to keep the ball. What did he have? 5 interceptions last year.
5 interceptions.
The team had only like 14 turnovers, the lowest in the league. There's something to be said about that. That maturity, that assurance that your quarterback's going to go out there and make the right play. That's just priceless. And I think this guy just has a bright future. And I think Houston is just going to obviously be a playoff team. And so that reality, CJ Stroud, number 4.
So far, it seems like 2 for 2 for me.
2 for 2 for you. All right, coming in at number 3. All right, the guy that you just hyped up and then you put him at number 5. I have Lamar Jackson.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 for 3. You're saying the exact same names. And now I told you it wasn't in any specific orders. But go on. It's your list.
What?
It seems like your list is my list, but it's your list.
What kind of everybody gets a trophy world are you living in? So 1 and 5 are the same.
Hey.
1 and 5 are the same.
No, 1 and 5 are not the same, but
you get a trophy, you get a trophy, you get a trophy,
you get a car, you get a car, everybody gets a car.
All right? Okay, number 3, Lamar Jackson, reigning MVP. Again, Baltimore, one of the best organizations in football, if not the best organization. They're going to be in the playoffs. He's going to win 10 games, probably at minimum. At minimum, 10 plus, if you want to say it that way. He's a threat. The only potential of him not having a outstanding season is injury, and that's something that could be within any quarterback. Again, bolstering the backfield, Henry. I wish they did add an additional receiver. However,
that's the one thing I wish they did as well.
They got Andrews back healthy, Lively as well, so that 2 tight end sets. I think Jackson is going to have an outstanding season. He's got that chip on his shoulder, the inability to get over Mahomes. It's something that I think is going to drive Baltimore this year, and we're going to see Baltimore deep in the playoffs again this year. All right?
Okay.
At number 2, I have the guy that everyone seems to have forgotten about, but I have not, Mr. Joey Burrow. This guy, let us not forget, is one of the only quarterbacks that can go tit for tat with Patrick Mahomes, and one of the only quarterbacks who's been able to knock off Mahomes in the playoffs in recent memory. This guy, the only way he does not thrive is injury, and that's, again, that can be said with any quarterback. It is a concern. Don't get me wrong, but when this guy's on the field, Cincinnati Bengals are a top team in the league, and I think this year Burrow's going to avoid any major injuries, and I think the world's going to remember that Burrow is the second best quarterback in this league.
Burrow is definitely a great quarterback. However,
I don't know. He wasn't on your list, so I don't think he was a great quarterback.
yeah, he's a great quarterback.
Everyone's a great quarterback.
Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback. Do you see where I'm going?
In your world, these guys are all great quarterbacks.
They're not champions.
You're a great quarterback if you're in the NFL. That's fine.
100%, yeah.
All right?
No, well, not really.
But there's a difference. There's a hierarchy here.
I'm not putting Daniel Dimes up there, but you are.
I don't have a dime.
You said great quarterback if you're in the NFL, and he's in the NFL. So in your definition, Daniel Dimes is great.
In comparison to the world, yes. Obviously, he's a great quarterback.
But
in the reality of the NFL, all right, there's a difference, okay?
Okay, so
Joey Burrow, I
is
believe,
your number 2.
is going to reestablish
but let me ask you
this season
is
as the second best
number 1 receiver going to be playing week 1?
Oh, yeah.
They didn't get
He's
the deal done.
Playing. He has 2 more years on his deal.
The deal.
He will be playing.
Okay, we'll see.
He's in a hold in. He's not holding out. He's holding in. He's there at practices.
So he steps on the field, plays game 1 with no new contract. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
He's going to play.
Okay.
The number 1 quarterback in the NFL, in reality, is the reigning Super Bowl MVP, the back-to-back Super Bowl champion, Patrick, my homie, because he's not your homie.
Yeah, well.
Mahomes, all right? I'm sorry for anyone out there that had to put up with that Mickey Mouse list. I'm sorry, but everyone here, there, everywhere knows that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football.
Okay.
We are potentially talking about, after the end of his career, we're going to be talking about Patrick Mahomes. Is he the greatest quarterback ever? All right? So to be telling me that he's not the best quarterback in this crop of quarterbacks is absolute crazy, blasphemous, ridiculous.
Now, we understand that sometimes it takes you a minute or two to understand the question, and we were talking about production on the field. Now, you have
then you want who's going to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback? That's the question you should have asked me then.
No.
Because if that's the quiz, we have a different answer.
So if Patrick Mahomes doesn't end up first overall, if he doesn't have the most passing yards, if he doesn't have the most touchdowns, does he still end up being the
he wins the Super Bowl?
No, that's the playoffs. We're talking about regular season. We're talking about regular season. We started off talking about production in the regular season.
So when Kirk Cousins has more passing yards, not Kirk Cousins.
Don't do that.
But let's see.
No, you went too low. You went super low. You see, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Bringing in Kirk compared to Mahomes, that's low. No, we're talking these top 5 guys are supposed to be in the playoffs, right?
Oh, we're not talking about the playoffs.
We're not talking about the playoffs, but if you are great in the regular season, you're going to produce.
Your team should be in the playoffs. Yes.
Joey Burrow, I don't know.
Hey, he's in the toughest division in football.
Hey, you said top 5 with Joey Burrow.
And I believe that he is the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Based on
this year, he will prove and let people know again.
So you don't have Jalen Hurts in that list.
Not in my top 5.
But you have Joey Burrow.
Yes.
Based on previous years.
He's not going to be injured this year, and he will remind people that he's the second best quarterback in football.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Something did wrong.
You're right. Something's wrong because I'm going to get you a Cincinnati Bengals jersey along with your New York Giants jersey. We're going to make you wear both of them simultaneously because we know that Kyron have these absurd picks and he has these pie-in-the-sky kind of fantasies that he just wants these fly-by-night teams to just come out with Super Bowl titles. But it doesn't work like that, Karen. It just doesn't. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great show. We'll see you next time. It is the last Word.